Everything is a mirror. We all have to climb down the ladder, meet our shadow, integrate it, bring it back up, and then you are your core, unique self. We've all heard the quote, "I am not what happens to me, I am what I choose to become with what happened to me." That has been a phrase that has pioneered in fields of psychology, philosophy, even science. We're starting to question, how did those memories influence us to our state of being in the present now? I am not what happened to me, and that could be traced all the way back to a memory that is chemically causing you to stay in the same state of being. That's where science comes in. Philosophy is applying, how did that take control over me? What is the wisdom I've attained to meditate on that and move on from that and evolve and philosophize about what I learned? I am not what happens to me, I am what I choose to become. How am I carrying that bag? That's my own path, and I have the toolboxes within me to go towards whatever I want to go towards by knowing myself. Know thyself. Through astrology, through the archetypes, through the stories, through the myths. These are all tools, energies we can tap into within our psyche that decodes our whole individuation model, because it's blending the persona with the collective unconscious and the shadow self. It's becoming oneself, going back to a repressed weight of memories and evolving from that. No one can really tell you how you can tap into yourself. That's unique to you. Do you ever sit down with yourself and question whatever you do? Allow yourself to think outside of the box. I don't want to sound like inspiration. I'm trying to sound like preachy. What is it that we have stored collectively and that's individually? And how can you work with that? Using the psychoanalysis and then using your consciousness, your creative brain, to use your memories and play with them to build a new character in your life and experience that story. What are the stories you want to experience? What is the character you want to play in actuality? Not stay stuck in fantasy in your brain, but what do you want to be? To be that, you have to go back to yourself, to your unconscious traits. Blend that with you. And how can we do that? Integrating and getting into precision of our own unique psyche. That could be, in a broad sense, tapping into your creativity, being more compassionate with yourself, going into self-care walks. And I know this all sounds basic, mundane, but it's actually just being with yourself. And you're going to start to tap into those brainwave frequencies that will allow you to understand what do you need, what do you don't need. You're going to be able to resonate with more meditative thoughts. You'll be more in an alpha brainwave when you're more connected with yourself, with being present, with understanding that the concept of just being with yourself plays a huge role in how your day is going to play out. And it's applying the mind and the body. Everything below your nervous system stores all the weight, all the memory encoded. That's why when we have emotional weight, we feel it in our body. We feel a sensation, a weight. When it builds up, you're stuck, you have a blockage. It manifests externally as a physical illness, unfortunately, in some cases. The more we integrate the mind, the body, the unconscious, and the conscious, the better sense of who we are we have within to evolve from whatever situation our character has to face. Using astrology, you can understand deeper aspects of yourself. It's a self-assurance of the darker aspects of yourself, the weaknesses of yourself. That could be your strength. That is your strength. When you build it up, when you consciously apply it to your life, to your personal reality. Our persona, what we think we are, collective unconscious, the norms, the structure, the beliefs stored, everything that we picked up collectively as a society, as a country, everything is stored within the collective unconscious. And the shadow is how did you individually repress everything that you wanted to go towards, that was unique to you, that resonated with who you are. Everything that makes you, that you repressed, is stored in your shadow. The deep, dark aspect of yourself that manifests externally as dark traits that you are unconscious of. It's below the surface. That's why it's reflected in the relationships you have with other people, with yourself, and mainly the world. Everything is a mirror. We all have to climb down the ladder, meet our shadow, integrate it, bring it back up. You become one, and then you are your core unique self, your essence. You become one. There's many ways we can use astrology to find different, more repressed aspects of ourselves. But generally, when we begin looking at astrology, the direct opposite of the first house, which is the house of the self, who you are, I am. That's the first statement of the life situations. Coming from the archetype of Aries, the ram, head on first, who are you? The direct opposite is the seventh house, partnerships, relationships, one-on-one things, the relationship you have with yourself, with other people, and with the world. How do you see everything mirrored? By looking at the seventh house, we can have a better understanding of the different archetype that we might be repressing within our life. If I have Aries in my first house, then I would have Libra in the seventh house. That means that I'm going to manifest a lot of Libra archetypes in my life. That doesn't mean that they're going to be a sun sign Libra. They might have a lot of Libra characteristics within them that you might not be seeing them because they might be Mars in Libra, they might be Venus in Libra. But since we're used to using astrology based on our sun sign or what we hear, based on newspaper, based on the surface level things, we don't understand that there's a much more deeper mathematical equation within you that then you can apply to understand the different energies and how they work as a whole. The archetypes are archaic structures. What is more into precision is the combination of everything together. How are the planets aspecting each other? How are the zodiacs interacting with the planet and the different aspects that are affecting each planet? What are the degrees of each different zodiac placed in each different house? How is all of that aspecting you? Within each element, there's different modalities, and there's different archetypal structures that we can start to practicalize and decode to get a better sense of, then getting deeper into precision in the mathematical equation of your psyche as a whole using astrology. The seventh house comes from the archetype of Libra. Libra is what is the agreement, what is the balance, the harmony we're placing upon things. It's a much deeper thing than just relationships. Libra deals with balance. They want to have everything in balance, but they're also very cardinal with their air. They're a cardinal air sign. They can initiate a lot of different relationships, and that's what makes them sometimes unreliable. But when looking at your chart, depending on your ascendant, depending on your first house, you can see your opposite seventh house. That's going to give you a better understanding of your shadow traits, the traits that you see in your partnerships, in your one-on-one things. And depending on the planets that you have here, that's going to give you a better understanding of the influence that it's being placed upon that house. The eighth house is deep agreements, desires. That's why it's correlated with money. It comes from the Scorpio house. It's everything that it's more below the surface. We can be relationships, but it's derived from the seventh house. So I just wanted to bring that up because in astrology, the eighth house is also looked for to see like more precision of shadow work. But it's the combination of both of them. The combination of everything you have here, depending on how the planets are aspecting each other, depending on what other planet you might have aspecting your seventh house, all of that formulates your unique seventh house, the house of partnerships. I don't want to get too deep into it because I know it can be a little confusing, but I'm going to get deeper in another videos. I just want to briefly introduce this little shadow work tools we can start to look at for more precision of our psyche. It's all a psychological thing. The more strength we build within, the more aware we are of our energies, of our different factors within, the more assured we'll feel internally to go towards whatever we want to go towards. We have that mental strength. No one can take that away from you. That's your perception. You build that up. And this astrology is a tool for you to be more self-aware of everything you want in your life. And then you can build that up because you've had that self-awareness. It gives you that tool for you to play with and understand these energies within you. That makes you you. I'll get deeper in other videos. Stay tuned and let me know if you guys have any questions.